If there's one writer in the industry that has broken out over the past few years in a big way, it's Scott Snyder. The level of body of work that this man has created in the past few years is truly something to be jealous of. However, with so many books under his belt in just the last few years, it can be just a little bit daunting in terms of where to start and what to pick up. Today we're going to be highlighting 4 different Scott Snyder books that you should be reading. And today we're talking all about one of DC's greatest breakout writers. Let's do this. Kicking things off with Scott Snyder's breakout hit, we are going to start with American Vampire. American Vampire first came out in March 2010, and right off the bat, it caught the eye of a lot of comic book fans, but not for the reason you might think. You see, American Vampire had Stephen King's name on it. Stephen King helped Scott Snyder out by writing the first few backup stories in American Vampire. I remember when this first came out, everybody was all abuzz thinking, wow, Stephen King is writing comics. But the fact of the matter is, Scott Snyder's story in American Vampire was better than what Stephen King was doing. American Vampire starts off in 1925, and we see this young woman named Pearl Jones. Pearl Jones lives in Hollywood, and she is dying to become a Hollywood actress. Through certain circumstances, Pearl goes to an audition where she is brutally murdered. However, the catch is that she is murdered by vampires. Pearl is left for dead, and she is discovered just before passing out by Skinner Sweet. Skinner Sweet decides to turn her. Why? Just for fun and to see what happens. The thing about Skinner Sweet, though, is that he is a bit of a different kind of vampire. He's not just any ordinary vampire, he's an American vampire. So this means that Skinner is able to go out into the sunlight, and he has different weaknesses from your stereotypical Carpathian can't go out in the sunlight type of vampire. I love American Vampire. If you have not read this story, you absolutely should. It is just straight up good comic book fun. Not only that, but there are so many twists and turns in this series, and you have Skinner Sweet, who you're never really quite sure what his intentions are. He is truly the definition of a wild card. Sometimes he helps Pearl Jones, and a lot of times the reality is he's just looking out for his own ass. One of my favorite arcs, and where I think the story is at its best, is World War II. I'm not going to give it away here, but I will say that, oh my gosh. What was great about the World War II arc is that you had Scott Snyder telling 2 different stories at the time. You had one with his regular artist, Raphael Albuquerque, and the other one with Sean Murphy as the artist. The crazy thing about this is that both stories were great. Raphael, the regular artist on this series, is really good. He's got a very minimalistic approach to the way he draws things, and he just gets better as the series goes on. If for whatever reason you haven't picked up American Vampire and you are really jonesing for something a little bit creepy now that we're coming up to the October horror season, this is a must-buy. The next choice on my list goes to Wytches. Now, when I say the word Wytches, what do you think in your mind? You probably think long pointed nose, the little black hat, and all that other stuff. That's not what this is. What Snyder does here is that he turns the conventional thinking of what a witch is into something new and downright disturbing. The series centers around a young family named the Rooks. The family has just moved to Litchfield, New Hampshire following an incident involving their daughter, Sailor. In Sailor's previous school, she was attacked by a vicious bully. Things got a little bit weird though when the bully ended up disappearing. This prompted all the people in the school to think that Sailor had something to do with it. People started making wild accusations saying that Sailor killed the young girl. Looking to start over, the family moves into a new town. Now this town has a really big secret. In this town, people go to these trees and offer what's called pledges. When a person pledges another individual, what ends up happening is that the witches that live in that forest end up capturing and killing that person. I won't get into any more specifics, but I will say that this is a haunting new take on what we consider to be the traditional witch. Not only that, but as you go through the story, you soon find out that the parents aren't telling their daughter the whole story. Wytches is one of those stories that's so good, I could not put this down. Every single time a new issue had come out, I wanted it and read it immediately. The art here is done by the amazing Jock. Jock over the last few years has gone to do movie posters and really do a lot of work for movie companies. However, his work on Wytches is really good, guys. It's incredibly well done. I will say that I think the only downside of it is that they use kind of this splatter style over pages sometimes, and it can get just a little bit too much. So if you're jonesing for a different take on Wytches, this is obviously a must buy. What are you waiting for? pick it up. The next book on this list has to go to The Wake. The Wake was a 10-issue short-lived series with Scott Snyder doing the writing duties and Sean Murphy doing the art. At the beginning of the story, we see a young woman who is surrounded by water. Turns out that she is in a flooded city and it's 200 years in the future. The story then cuts back to the present day. A group of scientists have discovered something at the bottom of the ocean. It turns out that they think they have found the secret to our evolution. The scientists have discovered these strange beings called the Murs. As you can imagine, things don't really go well for the scientist. To me, the big hook about this story is just how damn engaging the narrative is. Right from the beginning, you're pulled into this world and you're wondering what the hell happened to society that things crumbled around them and the entire world was flooded. And it's really that hook that takes you through all 10 issues of this series. Now, when this first came out, there was some controversy regarding the ending. Don't worry, not spoiling here. I will say that while I do understand the controversy, I really enjoyed it. I do think though that some things could have been explained just a tad bit better. The art here is done by Sean Murphy, and of course, what do you expect from an artist of his caliber other than damn great? Murphy gets to use his signature scratchy style in tight corridors and places, since the majority of the story takes place on an underwater station. However, he really gets to flex his drawing chops once the story jumps back to 200 years in the future and we see the fallout of everything. The Wake is a story that if you're looking for something along the lines of The Abyss, it is a must-buy. At this point, guys, you know what's coming up on my list. There is no doubting what my next choice will be, and of course, it's Batman. Scott Snyder was given the reins to take over the Batman in 2011 when DC relaunched with the New 52. While many fans were excited, what we didn't expect was just how goddamn good the run was. In the first arc alone, he introduces the Court of Owls. Now, the Court of Owls since then have quickly become a fan favorite. Scott Snyder then goes on to give us one of the most terrifying incarnations of the Joker, followed by showing us what Batman's first year in Gotham was like. The only downside for this, for me, is the Mr. Bloom stuff. You see, at one point, Commissioner Gordon takes over. I'm not gonna say why, and it really doesn't work for me. The series eventually rebounds back and it ends very strongly. The breakout star of this, though, has to go to Greg Capullo. I remember when this was first coming out, people were saying Greg Capullo, that knockoff Spawn artist. Well, he sure proved them wrong. Capullo's art style in this is perfect for the Batman, so much so that to me, a lot of artists are piggybacking off of it today. I love the man's take on the character, what can I say? The way that he draws Bruce as basically just this solid block of muscle is awesome. Also, his incarnation of the Joker is truly terrifying. There are some genuine panels in here with the Joker that I will remember for the rest of my life. Bottom line is that this is a damn great run, and I love it so much. And if for whatever reason you have not read Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's run on Batman, what are you doing? Do yourself a favor and pick this up. There you have it, folks. That is my choice for the best Scott Snyder comics. Let me know what your choices are down below in the comments section, and of course, there is always the Twitter where you can find me and reach out to me. If you want to support this channel, Patreon is always available, and if you want to pick up any of these books, you can find links down below to Amazon. If you use those links, I get a cut of the profit. Doesn't come out of your wallet, comes out of Amazon's. Look out for new videos, guys, Monday through Thursday at 8 a.m. And of course, there's the Q&A on Friday. I love you, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.